Today, I'm speaking with Keymaker, Lawrence Murray. Lawrence, it is just so excited to talk to you because, I mean, you are the entire identity of a Keymaker of KeyTV before we even knew that's what it would be one day. You started off as a street team member, the head of the street team for Keke from back in the day, talking about So Uncool album day.
07, doing it real big.
Doing it real big.
Doing it real big.
And from there, you worked up to being a graphic designer for the brand, to then being a developer, you know, writing treatments, then directing videos, to now developing television shows like we have Unlabeled on the network. And now also hosting. I mean, the list goes on from the journey that you've had from the beginning. So just talk to me a little bit about how that's been for you.
Well, it's been really great working with you throughout the years because as you've grown, I've grown. Like you said, like I started off as a graphic designer, but you know, as I began to develop and, you know, get into photography and filmmaking, I was able to, you know, kind of practice with, you know, some of the projects you were doing. I've learned so much, not only by watching you, but like through the people around you, like Sharon and Lenoria, and, you know, it's such a community and a family that it's just like, I feel like I'm in a safe space, so.
Oh, that's so awesome. So when you heard about KeyTV, because obviously you and I talk about a lot all the time. We be dragging people together, we give a little tea together, we talk about the upcoming projects. Like you said, we've both been a part of one another's journey growing creatively. So what was your first thought when you heard about, you know, the journey of KeyTV and creating this network?
I was like, okay, so, you know, you're directing and producing now. I mean, like you've done different projects before where, you know, that you produced, but I was very excited to see what kind of content you was going to create. I pitched you this idea that became Unlabeled as something that would be a content piece for, you know, your music rollout. And then, you know, to see how that has developed, I was like, you know what, this is cool. This could be an opportunity to really do something, you know, that inspired me when I was younger, because I was into like the shows like Behind the Music and making a video. Watched a lot of BET and MTV growing up during like the early 2000s. So I was like, yo, like this gives that energy, and you know, so to see how, you know, that small idea developed into what it is now and what it could potentially be, just makes me excited. So
yeah, I think that's always the thing. Like when I'm thinking about KeyTV and I'm thinking about the people that are involved, I want us all to be able to take one idea and to try to brand it out to another franchise. You know, I was speaking about that with Lenoria as well. When we talk about Edible Always Wins, when we talk about Unlabeled, my vision for that, when you shared that to me immediately, was this is bigger than just Keke Palmer's music story. There's so many other artists that have the same story of wanting to become unlabeled. And so just that seed of something, you know, as we collaborate within the system of KeyTV, we're able to come up with something new. And that's what excites me the most. So when you think about the future for yourself, I mean, you've played so many roles. Where are you at right now as a Keymaker? What is it that you want to contribute the most?
Well, I want to continue to build out Unlabeled and help tell stories for other independent artists. But I also want to get more into music videos, and like I said, I'm a photographer as well, and I really want to, you know, continue to grow within that space. And you know, because you know, I shot the promo images for Ho and Tell too. So, you know, wherever I can plug in as a creative, I still want to wear multiple hats. And you know, if I can continue to, you know, connect the dots as far as like, you know, introducing you to other, you know, great bright minds, and you know, I'll do that too. I'm a team player, so wherever I can plug in, I'll plug in.
Obviously, I know our development process, but you know, Virgo likes to hear, you know, how would you describe our development process?
It starts off with the text these days, I feel. and sometimes it's, like you said, a reference where we could talk about something maybe 3-4 months ago, and then I can sit with it. I'll be triggered by like a conversation that we had. I'm just like, okay, maybe we can do this, and then I'll come to you, and then we'll have that exchange, and then from there, you know, we can further develop of like how to execute or like what direction do we really want to go in. So it's just communication. And
yeah, I feel like we over communicate, and I think we're both visual communicators, so that's why we need a deck. We live for a deck or two.
You know, I love putting them together too.
Sometimes we'll do something and you'll be like, your expectation for it was not always met. You know, maybe you learned something about yourself, or, you know, I remember when you directed your first thing, you were like, oh my gosh, I gotta outsource my whole team. I didn't realize that was like a thing. When things weren't as you expected them to be, or they didn't pop off like you thought they would, you didn't get the results. What made you keep going?
I mean, this may seem a bit like narcissistic, but I like to look at myself like a music artist in the sense of, you know how like everybody has their eras where they come back and reinvent themselves? And they come back stronger and better than ever. Like I sit and I take the lessons that I learned, and you know, I started journaling. Like, okay, so what did I learn from this situation happening? Like, what did this teach me? And sometimes I don't get immediate answers. And so, but like one thing outside of journaling, I go back and I read my journals to kind of like help me figure out like what the puzzle is. You've helped me figure that out because I remember when we were creating content for I Don't Belong to You, you sent me like all these images of your journals that you that you wrote when you were like 12. And so I put together like the videos for that. Like, I wasn't thinking too much of it then, but I read the book and I started connecting the pieces. I'm like, okay, like everything that I've said that I wanted to do, it eventually happened. It just didn't maybe play out the way that I thought it was gonna happen, but like journaling has helped me to continue to, see my process and see how life is shaping out for me. And it's something that I can reflect on.
It's really a powerful, powerful tool, and it's also manifestation. The things you write down, they came to life because you put them into the universe, and it's such a powerful tool. Shout out to Brandy, because Brandy is the one that really encouraged me. I mean, obviously, Moesha, hey, dear journal. I mean, it's crazy, it's very meta. But anyhow, I digress. I wanted to pick up on something, pull something out here, because a lot of these things are revolving around what I think is ultimately faith. And obviously, both of our fathers are pastors. How do you think that impacts your storytelling? And it could be positive or negative. I just would love to know.
When I first started designing, I was telling you about how I would work in MySpace too. I would actually, alongside doing like the MySpace graphics and stuff like that, my parents got me involved, doing graphics for the church. Kind of like when singers, they say like the best singers start out in the church and, they have that development process. I was just more so behind the scenes.
And doing technology.
Yeah, I was doing the programs, I was doing the flyers, I was doing, the stage management behind the scenes. I was doing all of that stuff. So, just getting those fundamental lessons about faith during that process, it just kind of stuck with me.
Wow, yeah, the church is the best production company, okay? It's like church productions. It's true.
Yeah.
So what makes KeyTV as a network unique?
Like I said, I think it reminds me, just based off of the different things that I've seen so far, just of the programming that I watched earlier, like earlier on in my childhood. It gives that nostalgic vibe, but it's still fun and fresh and exciting and cool, and it's today, so.
Thank you so much, Lawrence. I just love you to death. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing a story from one of our Keymakers. Make sure to stay tuned on KeyTV for more stories just like that and get into some of our other shows as well.